Welcome to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast with your host, Brandon Seigel. I'm a published author, speaker, entrepreneur, and private practice strategist dedicated to transforming the way that healthcare functions. This podcast is all about empowering you to create the change you want to see. Let's dive in. Welcome back to this quick tip episode. Today, we're talking about something really important. Have you ever had that time where someone comes to you and they're like, can I have more money? Today, we're talking about declining an employee's raise request and trying basically with minimal upset. We want to mitigate the situation. And there's nothing worse than when someone comes to you who you love, you appreciate, you're grateful. And they say this, hey, Brandon, I know it's a bad time, but my family is going through some challenges. My spouse just lost their job, and I just wanted to see if there's any way we could revisit my compensation structure. And in your head, you're like, no way, Jose, not going to happen. But you're like, look, this is like my person. I need them. So what do we do? How do we do it? All those different things. That's what we're going to cover today. So before we begin, I am going to set the bar straight with some reminder rules. So reminder rule number 1, compensation is equal to affordability. Create your mortgage agreement before you hire your employee. So I want to ask you a question. If right now you fell in love with this house, you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta have this house. It's so great, blah, 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 blah. And they said, you can have it. And it's a variable interest. And you're like, what do you mean it's variable interest? Any day, at any time, the interest on your mortgage can go up. And you're like, well, what are we talking? Is it going up 1% or 2%? No, it can go up 100%, 200%, 300%. There's no limit to what that variable mortgage interest can be. Would you sign that agreement? No, you wouldn't. Because all of a sudden your 6% could become 500%. You're not going to do that. So why are you doing it with your employees? You hire an employee for $25 an hour and then they want $50 an hour and 50 days off a year paid. Why do you do that? Write the mortgage agreement. Sign the interest rate. What is the interest accrual that you're going to pay in increases? What is the structure? What is the KPIs? And when does that interest stop accruing? Again, I go back to my first reminder. Compensation is equal to affordability. Don't sign up for a variable interest rate with no parameters. The next thing I want you to look at is I want you to identify your employees' love language. How do they feel valued? What do they need? Is it financially? Is it all those different things? And I want you to identify their goals, their expectations before you hire them. They do not step foot until they dictate their life journey to you. If they don't know, show them the door. What they cannot project before the time of hire, you cannot put in place to ensure it is a realistic accomplishment. I'll never forget, I hired this employee. And I remember I was like, hey, it's a $60,000 to $70,000 cap. You're never going to make $1 more. They're like, oh my God, that would be amazing. I want it so bad, blah, 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 blah. 6 months go by and I get them coming to my door. Hey, Brandon, I wanted to see if I could talk about my compensation. I said, oh, what? You're very happy. And they go, well, and I go, what do you mean, well? I go, do you remember this? Yeah, but I'm a published author. I go, yeah, so? They're like, I'm doing a great job. My clients love me. Yeah, so? I show up every day on time. Yeah, so? I'm working really hard. And I'm like, okay, so what's your bottom line? Well, I think I should be making like 150,000. And no joke, this really happened. So, okay, so you're at 60 with a 70,000 opportunity and you think you're worth 150 now. And they said, well, yeah. I said, where are you coming from? And they're like, well, the cost of living. I go, let's go back. Did I not show you the ceiling? Yes. Why did you accept it? Because I wanted to get my foot in the door. I'm like, so basically you lied to me and now you're trying to raise my interest rate. What if I raised your interest rate? And they're like, well, you don't understand. I go, I understand. I mean no disrespect, but you signed an agreement and now you're telling me it doesn't work for you. What part of this equation makes sense? Well, I looked at the industry and what I'm asking is not unrealistic. I go, the industry is very vague. I said, do you want to see my contracts? Do you want to see my bottom line? Well, no, I just thought that you would understand. I go, I don't understand because your word has no meaning. I don't mean to be harsh here, but I am being honest. We have to scare people into understanding what we can afford today is what we can afford tomorrow. And unless you want to kiss the bottom of my soul's understanding that this is what I can afford, don't come work for me. Because now I'm in a tricky situation. Now I get to tick off a whole bunch of people because of this person's lie. Don't get there. So sign the mortgage agreement. Know the employee love language. Know their goals. Assign an expectation. 10 years from now, what is your paycheck and not a penny more? Get it down. What needs to accomplish? And remember, Tabasco sauce in your water system equals resentment. When they resent you, they are dropping Tabasco sauce. What's the first thing? Has anyone ever asked for a raise? Does anyone feel that our pay is fair? Did everyone else have to sign this? All of a sudden, seeps in. Hey, did you know that ABC now offers 6 weeks of PTO and they pay all this money? Why did you sign up if this transactionally did not work? Because now you're not only, I didn't need you. I wanted this to be a fit. So what you're saying is 6 months later, it's not a fit. And now you're Tabasco sauce in my water system. So now I got to flush everything out and start all over. Let's not get there. We cannot control the employee's response, but we can control how we handle and deliver the information. Now, again, how I talk to you might not be how I talk to the employee, but I'm just saying it straight because there's nothing that I hate more than when someone lies to me. And when you tell me everything that I put in front of you aligns with your needs, wants, and desires for today, tomorrow, and the future, and it changes, that's hard. For the past 20 years, I've had the privilege of helping pediatric occupational, physical, and speech therapists redefine the way that their business functions and helping them tap into their entrepreneurial spirit. In recent years, I recognized a deficit, which was bringing private practice owners together with the vision of allowing them to connect, learn, and grow. And Growth Code Conference was born. From sunrise to sunset, we offer an opportunity for pediatric, occupational, physical, speech therapy private practice leaders and owners to connect, collaborate, learn, grow from yoga to breakfast to lunch to coffee carts and more. We take you to another world where you are inspired, where you feel empowered, and where you are able to grow to the next level so that we all can change the world one child at a time. I can't stomach that. And that statement of, what do you expect, Brandon? To me, I'm like, what do I expect? I expect your word is stronger than oak, in the words of Jerry Maguire. I expect that. I expect it to have authority, meaning. I expect you to be authentic. I expect you to ask for the moon. Stop compromising if you want more money. Make this thing happen. We're lying to each other. Let's stop the lies and just show our cards. So now we talk about strategies for declining an employee's raise with minimal upset. So what I just did for you, that would create a lot of upset. So ideally we would handle it better. So the first thing we need to do is we need to prepare for the conversation. We need to understand the context. We need to review the employee's profit and loss, their affordability, their performance, their tenure, their contributions, their market salary benchmarks before we justify our decision. We need to identify the future opportunity. How can they meet and exceed the financial goals in the future? We need to anticipate emotions, be ready for disappointment or frustration, plan to respond with empathy, support, and opportunities. Allow them to make decisions. Don't just give them, this is what it is. No alternatives. Identify non-financial rewards. Maybe that's training. Maybe that's flexible hours. Maybe that's project opportunities to offer instead of a raise. Find that vehicle. Choose the right environment. Choose the right setting. Choose the right timing. Prepare for disappointment. Regardless of the response, anticipate there's disappointment. Prepare an environment that can acknowledge and support that communication. Private and timely, hold it timely in a calm environment at a good time. Prioritize prefrontal cortex communication. Let's collaborate. Let's talk. So we're going to acknowledge the request. Thank you, Brandon, for bringing this request. I really want to recognize your courage. I appreciate that you're trying to advocate for yourself. I really know that what you're asking is fair and reasonable, but unfortunately, it's not affordable. And part of our process is showing you our affordability. If we can figure out ways to afford it, I'm all in. But it comes down to revenue. So I want to validate here your achievements. Your work on this project was instrumental. You're doing a great job. You got to be honest and tactful. So explain the situation. Be transparent. Unfortunately, insurances have denied our increases. We're operating with the same reimbursement that we did back in 2020, and our expenses are on the rise, and yet our income's on the decline. And as much as I value everything you do, we have to figure out how we can make the decisions necessary to understand, are we the right fit for you? How do we continue? We're on the trajectory that you outlined, but now you're changing the trajectory. So it's really hard for me to commit to something when all along I tried to create a trajectory that I knew was attainable. And what you're asking for is beyond the budget. Here's why. Here's what I would like to look at. One option is maybe we look at your payer mix. Maybe we look at ways that you could build alternative revenue streams. What if we're not able to give you a raise unless you hit certain productivity marks? And maybe that includes weekend performance. Maybe there's ways together we can find that middle ground. Maybe we can build a team under you and pay them less and have you bonused based on their production. Let's think with things. Let's find ways, because the goal is not necessarily dialing down to this dollar amount raise. It's you want more annual earning potential. So let's think outside the box. Let's get creative. Let's see the path forward. Let's present opportunities on the horizon. Let's have clear expectations, outline specific achievable goals with this employee. Let's provide development opportunities. And in the interim, what are some non-financial benefits that would help you? What if we got an extra course on your opportunities of learning? What if we were able to bring you in an hour late once a month on a Friday? What are things that we can do that would be some form of exchange, because you deserve it, but this is not coming down to, this is just an affordability thing. So let's name the following goals. Let's outline ways that we may be able to increase your revenue generating potential. And let's come back in 3 months and see where we're at. Here's our target. How does that sound? We're going to write up that plan. We're going to share the goals, and we're going to ensure that there's clarity, accountability, and we're going to maintain positive. And on a high note, I'm truly excited about what I know you'll achieve next, and I'm here to support you in every way. I know this was not the answer you had hoped for, and I know that you deserve to be disappointed, but I also want to highlight that it's important that I'm staying true to you, because If I were to please everyone that asked me, we'd be out of business. And this just comes down to dollars and cents, as I showed you. But let's get creative. Let's find a solution. And I want to be real with you. If for any reason this isn't working, if for any reason you're like, Brandon, I can't see a future here, let's come up with a 6-month transition plan. I'll make it worth your while. I'll help you find the right opportunity. And we'll make this a win-win so that your patients benefit, you benefit, and our organization is able to continue in a positive direction. I care. The hardest part of my job is figuring out how to balance affordability and what others want, need, and desire. So we're going to reflect on our organizational practices after they leave. We're going to review our compensation policies. We're going to foster a growth culture. And maybe one of the things we need to do is we need to get to a point where people understand we have fiscal reviews with them. They don't have to request raises. So one of the things that I do is I have a quarterly analysis of every employee. And if they outperform their revenue generating expectation, we automatically reconcile that. And so by putting in some bonus structures, my viewpoint is you grow through bonus, not through standard fixed increase. And that allows us to co-create also, and that they feel financial progress as they hit new milestones and goals. So did you know a 2023 LinkedIn survey found that 70% of employees in small businesses, including private practices, accept a declined raise without upset when offered clear feedback and growth opportunities? 70%. 70%, because they just needed to see what was going on, where to go, how to grow, and how to be cause over their future. So in the words of Thomas Jefferson, honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. In case you haven't done it yet, please like us, subscribe, share me with your friends, share us with your group, because together we can thrive, not just survive. Thank you for tuning in to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. I'm incredibly grateful to each and every one of you. Exciting news. We're now available everywhere, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts to YouTube or anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts. So watch, listen, and reach out. If you love this episode, please drop a 5-star review. It truly means the world to me. Are you looking for more ways to elevate your practice? If so, now is your chance. Reach out, go to my website, or email me at brandon@wellnessworksmp.com. And remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.